Think exercise is only for people who feel great? Think again. These 3 simple changes will help you move better, lose weight, and actually reduce pain. Hey everyone, I'm Chrissy Williford. I'm known as the pain-free miracle worker because after 8 years of dealing with chronic pain, I finally found the answers I was looking for when doctors and therapists couldn't. Now I'm helping men and women eliminate their pain, tone their body, and get stronger so they can love the way they look and feel and live life on their own terms. Today I'm sharing with you 3 things that you can add into your workout program right now. Make these simple adjustments to help your body feel better faster. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to share with you is to activate your core before you do anything. I don't care what your workout is. I don't care if it's you're going to do a cardio or you're going to do a lift or you're going to do some resistance training or you're going to do a class, you're going to go for a walk, or you're going to start your day. For some people, their lifestyle and their day is their workout. Here's why you want to do this. Your muscles are like light switches. They turn on, they turn off. They turn on, they turn off. You have muscles that work together because they're a whole body system. So for example, bicep, tricep on the back of the arm. For the bicep to contract, the tricep has to extend or lengthen. For the tricep to contract, shorten, okay, the bicep has to lengthen. So they work in this kind of shorten, lengthen relationship. And so all of the muscles in our body do that, right? So they work together. That's my point. When sometimes they turn off because of like an injury or something that happens in a joint, it's offset or whatever. And so they'll turn off and they don't kick back on. Sometimes it's how your brain talks to your body, different reasons. The point is sometimes they don't kick back on. So when you activate your muscles before you work out, you're preparing them to load. You're turning them on. Load doesn't mean I'm going to lift a whole bunch of weight. The load could be a 5-mile run. The load could be a walk. The load could be carrying my groceries to my car. It can be lots of things. So it doesn't have to be you're going to do a super heavy weightlifting workout. Load happens all the time, whether you know it or not. When you sit down in a chair and you stand up from that chair, you're loading your body into a standing position. So there's lots of different ways. Like if you think about your lifestyle as your workout, especially if you're a doer, like you're doing stuff all the time, your lifestyle can be a workout. So when you activate your core, it helps everything else work better because all of our movement comes from our core. Now, what is your core? It is I call it your abdominal core, your lats, which is your biggest back muscle, and your butt muscle or your glutes. So those 3 pieces work together to brace your center system so that everything else moves well. There are 3 exercises I like to use for this. There's a few different ways that you can do it, but the 3 exercises that I like the most are the dead bug for your abdominal core, what's called a glute raise. I may have made that up. For your glutes or your hips. And then what I call an orange squeeze for your lats. Those are the 3 that I like. Make all of my clients do them in some capacity each week. If you'd like for me to share with you some training videos that I use for those, if you'd like for me to share that, I can do that if you'll comment core in the comments. I guess they're down here. I would love to share that with you. I can create a video around that and it would be super helpful, especially on days when like your body doesn't feel very well or like your pain's kicked up. If you'll do that, it just kind of resets everything and it helps your body feel better. And it's almost like you're preparing yourself for the day, especially if your day is your workout. So that's one thing, is activating your muscles. I prefer to activate everything. However, a great starting place is just focus on your core. Get your lats working. That's going to help with your shoulders. Your abdominal core is going to help with vertical loading, which is when you're standing up. And yes, if you're just standing up, you are loaded. And your butt helps with receiving that load, bearing that load when you're upright. So number 2 is to prioritize strength training over cardio. Most people, when they're wanting to lose weight, increase exercise, increase fitness, change their body, improve health, they focus on cardio. Here's a secret that no one shares with you, is that all exercise improves cardiovascular benefit. What does that mean? Well, for cardiovascular benefit, you want increase in heart rate and increase in lung capacity, like breathing. Okay, so increase in breathing and increase in heart rate. Those are the two components of cardiovascular exercise that we're looking for to increase cardiovascular benefit. So all exercise does that. You rack a bar with heavy weights and you do as many back squats as you can, then you're going to have an increase in heart rate and breath rate. You pick up your child who weighs, I don't know, let's say 70 pounds, and you carry them 100 yards, you're going to have increase in breath rate and heart rate. If you do 100 push-ups, you're going to have increase in breath rate and heart rate. So there's lots of things that create conditioning. That's what we're really talking about, conditioning your body. And you don't have to do just cardio to do that. Many times if you're wanting to create body change or a recomposition of the body, which means you want to preserve and hold on to your muscle mass, but lose body fat, resistance training is the way to go. And then just focusing on your diet, your nutrition, and making sure that that's super dialed in based on what your needs are. And then you focus on strength training because that's going to build the muscle. The more muscle you have, the stronger you are, the easier you move, the easier it is to do things throughout your life, like going upstairs or carrying your child or grandchild or playing with them out in the yard or carrying groceries or like all of those like daily activity things that we do, even like cleaning your house or like moving a couch to like vacuum up underneath it. All of those things just get easier. Like your life gets easier because your body is stronger. Many times, long-term cardio training, especially if our nutrition is not dialed in, it leads to muscle atrophy, which is muscle wasting or muscle loss. And so if you're using up your muscle like that, then you don't have it to be strong. So shifting your focus to strength training, especially if you're over the age of 40, I would even recommend it prior to that. Focusing on strength training over cardiovascular endurance gives you the benefit of cardio, but it also gives you the benefit of strength. Cardio doesn't make you stronger. Here's a great example. Think about what a marathon runner looks like, an endurance runner. Their body is very lean. Yes, they're muscular, very lean though. Very small, very just kind of straight. Like you can look at them and tell they're a runner. And then think about a sprinter. So like if you watch the Olympics and you see the sprinters, they're doing a 100-yard dash, they're doing, half a lap on a track. It's a very shortened distance. So they're more of a power athlete where the marathon runner is more endurance based. And it's night and day what their body looks like. So the sprinter develops more muscle mass because of the nature of the sport, right? They need that to be powerful, strong, fast. And then the marathoner is very lean because they need to be lighter so they can go the distance. So if you're not sure what those body styles look like, Google it. Just Google marathon runner and sprinter and just compare like what their body looks like. So when you're deciding what exercise that you want to do to reach your goal, think about like what do you want to look like? Because that's a great way to look at it and say, oh, well, if I focus on strength training, I'm going to build more muscle mass. It doesn't mean you're going to look like a sprinter, okay? It takes a long time to develop that much muscle mass, but it does mean you're going to have more tone and shape to your body. Or do you want to look like a marathoner who still does strength train? It's just not at the same degree, and they break down more of their body because they're long distance runners. And so like just think about it, like what do you want to look like? If you're 100 pounds overweight and you want to look like a marathoner, you're not actually going to look like them, but you're going to look like someone who's lost a lot of weight and you're going to be smaller. With the weight training and the resistance training, it's easier to focus on fat loss because you're going to help retain the muscle mass. With the cardio, you're not going to retain the muscle mass as easy, especially if you're doing no resistance training. You have to do some, okay? So it's fine to do a blend, that's fine, but shift into focusing on strength training. There's so many more benefits to your body, and it helps you like live into old age a lot easier. It makes life easier when you get older. And so the third thing I'm going to share is, especially if you have pain in your body. So I use an analogy of, let's go back to infancy. And it's like if you've had children, think about how they develop. They lay on their back most of the time in the beginning. They have tummy time. And so they're focusing on spinal extension and glute development in their tummy time. And then they're up on hands and knees, right? Because they're learning to crawl, and then they stand up vertical. So when you have pain, many times in my experience, people, their body responds better when you start from the ground. So you're going to do things like dead bugs, side bridges, planks, clamshells, glute raises. Hip bridges are okay depending on what's going on. Shoulder work, right? From the ground, because if you're in this like crouched posture that we get into as we work, especially if you work at a desk, you get into this crouched posture, we reset the shoulders and we use the ground to do that. So groundwork is great if you hurt when you're upright, if you hurt when you're like loading your body extra. So if you're lifting weights or what, like start from the ground, do groundwork. You could do 45 minutes of groundwork and it's great. You can do bear crawls, bear planks, I call them, where you just go up into the position and hold. There's lots of different things that you can do on the ground that are safe. Your brain's going to feel safe. Your body's going to feel safe. You're going to be able to develop a base level of strength and muscle activation. Okay, you're going to engage those muscles and they're going to come along and play with your body better. They're going to be available. They're going to be like, hey, let's go do something today. And it's going to help you feel better. You're going to feel a base level of strength. Your pain, it helps your pain subside a little bit. Now, posture and alignment, super important. However, it doesn't mean that doing those things is not going to support you, because usually it does. So start from the ground up. Start your workouts from the ground, like do some groundwork, and then get upright and start loading your body. Just do that, because it's okay to regress, to improve things that need to be improved so that your progression is better, the outcome is better. And actually, like what happens is you may be a little bit weaker or feel off in your normal exercise regimen, but that'll last for a very short period of time. And then you're going to be right back to where you were, and your progression is just going to be faster. So going backwards to correct a little bit is definitely worth it, especially if you're not getting the outcome that you want and you're wanting to get there faster. So if you're tired of trying to figure this out by yourself and you're ready to have a conversation about finding some real solutions and things that work, email me. My email's down here in the description. So email me the word pain and we'll get on a phone call and I'll talk to you about what's going on, give you my feedback. And then if you're a fit for my online coaching program, I'll invite you to come in so that we can work together. And I would love to know, what exercises have you done, like specific exercises that you've done, and did they help you feel better or worse? So feel free to put that in the comments below as well, and I will see you on the next one.